Hello, my name is Nathan Lamar Arriba, and this is my interview for IT 235. To begin, I'd like to say that virtualization is the backbone of modern cloud infrastructure. This has also allowed for businesses to do more with less hardware, has enabled scalability without the need of purchasing additional computers. When you talk about virtualization, we like to think of virtual machines, which are, at its simplest, software computers that run on powerful hardware like servers. Now that we talked about virtual machines, let's talk about its components and how we'd utilize it in how we'd utilize virtualization in a business environment. Let's think of our powerful hardware or the server like a pizza box. I'm going to be using a pizza box analogy. In that pizza box, it has the physical hardware resources, which is what our virtual machine depends on to run. The first component of a virtual machine is the hypervisor, which uses software like VMware or Hyper-V to separate those same resources into different isolated segments. Those different isolated segments is our virtual machine or the slices of pizza. Now, if hypervisor was our pizza cutter, those isolated segments is our slices of pizza or our virtual machines. They're all different and distinct, but all depend on the same physical hardware resources. Much like any computer, of course, the virtual machine requires hardware to run. In this case, we have the virtual hardware, which is our third component. Now, the virtual hardware is customizable based on what a business needs. Some users would prefer to have more processing power or virtual CPU. Some users would prefer to have more memory or virtual RAM. And this can be customized based on what a user needs. Lastly, the last component is our guest OS. This is the flavor of pizza that a user would want. In my case, I prefer to have a Linux flavored pizza. Some would prefer to have a Windows 11 flavored pizza. Some would prefer to have a Mac flavored pizza. Can all be customized based on preference. Now that we've talked about the components of a virtual machine, let's talk about the how we'd utilize virtualization in a business environment. In my study of Active Directory domains and creating virtual machines, I've learned four distinct benefits that come with virtualization. First is server consolidation. Instead of spending time on 10 idle servers, we invest into one powerful server that cuts cost on electricity, cooling, and hardware. Next is isolation or sandboxing. This allows us to isolate incidents to one singular virtual machine or errors to one singular virtual machine. This allows for the rest of the environment or the other virtual machines to remain unaffected. Next is snapshotting. Now that we've talked about the errors that can occasionally occur, snapshotting helps us to control Z or undo those same errors. This is done through going to a previous instance of a virtual machine and allows us to avoid downtime amongst the virtual environments. Lastly is mobility. Another benefit that comes with virtualization is it allows us to transfer virtual machines among different servers without the risk of downtime. If I were to transfer, let's say, one virtual machine from here in Muscat to the Americas, I can do it in without the need of shutting down my server. Now that we've talked about virtualization, I hope you've come to realize that virtualization is actually a really powerful tool and it will allow businesses to scale up without the concern for shutting down or spending too much. This is Nathan Lamar Riba, and this has been my interview for IT 235.